Our next video in Chapter 7 is about finding inverses of exponential and logarithmic equations. So we're going to start with an exponential. And remember, to find an inverse is that reflection across y equals x. So, and we will graph these at a later time. Today I'm just going to show you how to actually find the equation using algebra. So using the exponential, so I've got the exponentials right here. I've got y equals 4x, and I'm going to switch it. So I'm going to make it x equals 4 to the y. Sorry, that was y equals 4 to the x. And this is the exponential, and there's the switch. Okay, now the problem is that I want to solve for y. And when you have a variable in an exponent, you want to get this guy out of the exponent. So what do we use? We use a logarithm, and that means that I'm going to convert this equation to a log. In other words, an exponential and a log are inverses of each other. This exponential equation is going to have an inverse that is a log. Okay, so I'm converting x equals 4 to the y, so I'm going to take and write the word log. Remember, we're converting a log, and so we have to use the same method that we used when we first started talking about evaluating logs. So I'm going to write log base 4, because there's the base. The result is the x, and the exponent is the y. I can switch it around and make it look better. Y equals log 4 of x. Okay, so I just want to make sure that you understand this is the same as evaluating a log. So let's go back to what we talked about right at the very beginning of the chapter. If I have an exponential that is 2 cubed equals 8, I can write that as a log by using log base 2 of 8 and taking that 3 and putting it on the outside. That is what we are doing here. It's just in this case, the y is actually the exponent, and the y, when it comes out, then it's going to look like a regular equation. So I got y equals 5 to the x, and here's another example. Okay, so I have y equals 5 to the x is my exponential. I want to find the inverse of that, so I'm going to switch the x and the y. And honestly, some people will forget to do the switch, and then they'll want to do it later. I always say do the switch first. So we're going to switch x and y, and then we're going to change this to a logarithm because I want the y out. So I'm going to say log base 5 of x equals y. Notice that I'm kind of like dropping the 5 down. I'm pulling the x on the inside, and then I'm moving the y to the outside. This is fine. I can write it y equals log 5 of x if I wanted to. This is the convert from an exponential to a log. This is the switch. Okay? All right. So what we've been doing is we have been taking an exponential equation, and we have been finding the inverse of it. And when we find the inverse of an exponential, we get a log. If we go and find the inverse of a log, what do you think that's going to give us? The inverse of a log, the new equation is going to be an exponential. Okay? It's just like when we did inverses of a parabola. Remember, if we inverse the parabola, it became a square root function. That's what we're doing here. If we inverse an exponential, it becomes a log. If we inverse a log, it's going to become an exponential. So here I'm going to switch the x and the y again. Okay. And I'm going to go from a log to an exponential, so I've got to make sure that this looks like an exponential equation. So the word log can't be in it. Okay, now, notice that there is a y inside of here. I want the y out because I want to say y equals, because that's the proper way to write the equation. So I want the y to come out, and I want the x to go back into the exponent spot. So I'm going to write 3 to the x equals y, and if I want to make it look nice, y equals 3 to the x. All right, that is it for finding inverses. We are going to practice inverses, so let me know if you have any questions. Just remember, switch the x and the y, convert if you have to convert from an exponential to a log, or you may have to convert from a log to an exponential. If you have questions about that, let me know and we'll practice it.